writing the story of my life one day at a time. He's unraveling it. So I'm not going to box him and say, oh, I'm done with radio, I've detached, or like, oh, because I stopped radio for a while, I'm never going to go back to radio. I don't see it like that. I think it's a journey, and it's important for me to embrace every phase of that journey.
Before then, let's just quickly talk about the fears, the challenges, and the setback that came with the transitioning, because you went through a lot of transitioning actually. Let's talk about the fears that came, because personally, I know that we are Africans, right? Um, when you tell your African mom that, okay, mommy, I'm just done with school and I want to pursue my dream in media, there's always this, excuse me, after I've used all my money to send you to school, you want to do this. So how did you manage the judgments, the doubts, the judging? Because they say we listen, we don't judge, but some parents, they will listen and condemn you. So how were you able to manage those judgments, those doubts?
Oh God, African parents will listen, they will judge you, they will condemn you, they will beat you. So there is no we listen, we don't judge. Everything is a package with African parents. And I think I understand. I mean, now that I am getting older, I'm still very young, but I mean, with time, it makes sense to me. I'm imagining right now. I think my youngest sibling, our youngest sibling, she is currently in school, and when she says some things, I'm like, wait, how are you thinking? And I'm just imagining all the stupid decisions I made in the past and how it must have made my parents feel. So their concerns are valid right now when I think back at it. But at the time, no, it didn't feel like it. I don't know how I was disowned at some point. And they just thought that I did not have sense and I was going through with youthful exuberance. And so when I come back to my senses, I should come back home. And I remembered my brother told me at the time that, how much salary do you want? Write it down. Just stay back at home. Do the right thing that you should be doing, which is, working at the hospital, and would pay you how much it is that you want. Just write it down. They gave me a blank check. But I said no. No, I'm leaving. I want to go. And I remember that my mom would not talk to me. It was a very cold period of my life. Very, very cold. Very cold. I think that one of the things that I cannot bear is my mom not talking to me. But I don't know how I survived it. I honestly don't know how I survived it. It was very cold. I felt dejected. I felt I was homeless at some point, because I had left the house to be living with my friend who was staying with her uncle, and so this person too started giving to leave, and we did not have a place to stay. I remember one day I was leaving my parents' house, and then she called me and said that this person has locked the door, there's no key. Where are we going to sleep tonight? It was a very crazy phase of my life, and for all that time, I can tell you that it never crossed my mind that, Joy, go back and apologize and say, okay, I will do medicine. I would be a medical person, because I just knew that I could not survive. Now that I think about it, I think I have the capacity to do whatever I set my mind to do. So I think the problem was setting my mind to say, I cannot do this thing. And honestly, I just did not go back. No matter how hard it was, no matter how painful it was, I would only pray and pray to God and question God and say, God, if I'm wrong, just show up in my dream and tell me I'm doing the wrong thing. I just want to know, am I really wrong? Am I really a bad child? Am I really disobedient? But I knew I was a good person. I knew that I wasn't doing it to spite them. I knew it was for a better cause. I just did not know how to navigate. And another thing that would have helped is that I had a mentor. I did not have a mentor. So all these thoughts, it was just me in my head. It was just me using my head to navigate the whole thing. And I remember at some point my dad told me that he's giving me an ultimatum of I can't remember how many months now, because I started lying that I had a job, because they would tell me that you're just suffering yourself. Oh my God, I was so lean. I can't call them to say they should send me money to eat or money to fend for myself. I wasn't working. I was trying to get a media job. I didn't get any, and I could not call them that mommy or daddy will send me money. I couldn't call anybody. So I was suffering in silence, because if I go back to them, that would mean that they will say, Shebi, we told you were not going to make it. And at some point I lied that I already got a job, so that at least they will stop looking at me like I was doing rubbish with my life. But they knew. I don't know how those parents used to know. They just knew that I was deceiving myself. When I got an actual job, I went back home to give my mom my offer letter. It was from that moment that things changed. So for the other 2 years, from 2018 to 2021, is that 2 years or 3 years now? Nothing. No, it was a very crazy period. But 2021, things changed. I got a proper 9 to 5. Yes, so before I got the job, I think a month or 2 months before I got the job, my dad told me that he's giving me an ultimatum that if I don't come back home, that it's either I get a job within this time or I come back home. And at that time, I think I've had it up to here, and I was willing to just go back and beg. And I was just praying to God that, God, is this really how bad it is? That you cannot answer me? Like, I'm not even saying I want to be a prostitute, though. I'm choosing another career, and you are suffering me like this. And I remember I was just praying to God. And I think 2 days after my dad's phone call, I was recommended for my first 9 to 5 role. And I went home to I didn't even tell my mom. I wanted it to be a surprise. I just told her, is she at home? I'm coming home. And I went there with my offer letter, went there with everything. And oh my God. And that's just to say that sometimes when our parents are standing on certain decisions, the moment she knew that I knew what I was doing with my life. Like right now, my mom is so sure that even if it is 10 p, that's it 10 p.m., 1 a.m., and I tell her I'm outside, her mind is at ease. She's not bothered because I've proven myself over the years. After my last event, she called me. I was on another call. I didn't pick. She called my sister. She said, tell your sister that I wanted to congratulate her for today's event. And I was thinking, I don't understand, which was congratulation. What did I do? Am I the celebrant? And she would just call me to say, Monique Nkieni Kwori Reni. That means like congratulations on today's event. And I'm thinking, so you're actually this sweet. So it just shows that it's whatever decision they make, whatever path they choose, it's because at the end of the day, they have the best of our interest at heart. And yeah, if they knew better, they would do better. But
Oh my God, like I'm teary right now because listening to everything you said, I'm like, you're so bold, like you're so brave for you to take that decision. Can I? Hey, Chineke. Like you, I love your tenacity. What? Oh my goodness, this is mind blowing. Because for you, I wanted to ask you about financial struggle, but you already just mentioned it. So I would like you to like tell us how you were able to manage it. Like, wait, so like there were days you did not eat. Wow. How,
don't be letting
how
me to. I think another thing I would point to is quality people, the gift of friendship. I mentioned my friend who I was living with at the time. We were living together at her uncle's place. Her mom is a very liberal person, so she just understood me and she accepted me from day one because she knew me as a daughter's friend from school. Now, was it that she was always sending us money? No. But it was just the fact that, oh, I am accepted somewhere, even if in my own home I wasn't accepted. Now, to the question, how did I get food? How did I friend? So, before my friend herself even got a job, it took like a long time. I honestly cannot explain. And I wasn't necessarily dating any Odogu that will say, oh, it's my boyfriend that is carrying me. Never. Yes, whoever I was with at those times, I'm sure they were supportive in one way or the other. But it was just a lot. I remember at some point when this friend of mine finally got a job, she got a job of 30K and we were managing with that. And I mentioned that while I was in school, I was a makeup artist. I used to do makeup. So I was doing that. I was doing makeup here and there. I spoke to somebody gave me money. I went to buy tools again. I did some bridal works. At some point though, I stopped. Not like I stopped makeup. I started selling household items. Like I've never really spoken about this, but yes, I was selling house kitchen utensils. Pots, kitchen items. I would post it on my WhatsApp status. I would post my makeup. Anyhow, one we shall send, one we happen. And I remember that Christmas would be coming. And even if I stay away for all the other times, Christmas, I shall need to go home. I won't have money to go home. And I won't be able to call them at home to say, send me money to come home. And I remembered one time my friend was working in a company and they gave her chicken for Christmas. And she brought the chicken home. And we didn't even have gas to cook the chicken. Or wait, I think we had gas to cook the chicken. There was nothing to fry the chicken or like Gary to even drink with the chicken. I can't remember the details, but oh my God. It was just a whole lot of messed up situation. But look at me now. God is good.
Look at me. Oh my God. Oh, this is actually something because for everyone who will be listening right now, I want you to understand that in as much as you're trying to transition into something new, doesn't mean that you should be laid back. Doesn't mean that you should not do anything. Joyous Joy was doing every other thing and pursuing the goal. This is really amazing. Like I honestly don't want this to stop. I have amazing question. And I honestly love the fact that you are answering them explicit. This is a Young Minds Corner podcast. And looking back, I know you know that you made some mistakes. Can you spill the tea for us briefly on how you made the mistake? What are the mistakes you made that you wouldn't want another person who is trying to take this kind of bold step as you did to make?
Okay, so I think that the first one would be, because I knew that I wasn't going to use my degree, because I knew I wasn't going to practice anything medical. I didn't take my academics as serious. I used to go around in school like, I'm just here to while away time. And I think I spoke to someone. I met someone in 200 level, and I wish I met him like before school, or in 100 level. And he told me that just because you are here does not mean that you should just be wasting all the time. You can actually be doing other things. Okay, you don't want to pursue school as much. Okay, why don't you pursue the other things? And it was this person that encouraged me to start doing makeup. It was this person that told me that I can actually explore my other possibilities and merge it with school. And the moment I took that advice, I mean, who would have thought that makeup would carry me for some years? And even till now, when I have events, the event I hosted on Saturday, I did not have to pay any makeup artist. I do my makeup myself, right? So some things that we are doing while you are waiting for that big break, I want you to take it as serious as you would take that big break. Another thing would be when I started podcasting. I did not know that it was going to be a thing. I was just doing it because I was tired of waiting, right? And I took it so seriously that I was creating flyers from it. When I was going to apply for jobs, it is those things they saw and they employed me. So I made mistakes of not being as serious with school. I think that is like my only mistake right now, because from that, I mean, I'm someone who overthinks and I torture myself a lot. Before you come and condemn me, I've condemned myself. And I think that just helps me to stay on course. Like, if I'm getting lazy with something, I just remember the pain. I remember how much I look back and I wish I did better, and that just puts me on my toes. Like, whatever it requires, whatever is needed, we die here. And nobody has ever died in the bid to survive, in the bid to succeed, right? So I feel like the tenacity, take it as serious as you would take that same thing you are trying to transition into. My mom would say that Ishel can find, that means that work does not kill anybody. It felt like, why am I doing this thing? Why am I disturbing myself about sciences when I know I wasn't going to do it? I actually wish I did better than I did. I actually wish I handled it better. I wish I did not take it with levity just because I knew I was going to do media. I'm grateful that media is still going well right now, but I just really wish that I did that better, and it would be sweeter to say. So that's the only mistake I think is memorable right now. I wish I was more strict.
I love your honesty. Thank you very much. I know we cannot have this conversation without talking about the growth process. So, can you tell us about how you were able to prepare, acquire skills needed for this new career path that you are following right now? Were they like specific courses you took? Were they people you reached out to and stuff like that?
Okay, so for me, like I mentioned earlier, I did not really have a lot of people that are doing what I want to do in my environment. I didn't really have the gift of I had the gift of audience, but I always wanted people I could learn from, and I didn't really have a lot of that. So Google was my go-to. Honestly, I kn- I know a lot of people say that, oh, there are not a lot of resources. And I'm like, wait, if there are not a lot of resources now in 2025, how much more back then? How did I survive? I remember that the day Tomike came to my school, I said that I slept on her page, on her Instagram page. And yes, I mean it. I went from my Instagram page to Ebony Life, where she spoke about how she transitioned. She was still a student of Unilag at the time, where Ebony Life was auditioning for a presenter or some presenters for Moment Z. And from my Instagram page, I went on YouTube. I watched everybody's audition, people that failed, people that did well. So Mike herself made it to, I think, the top 6 or something. So those resources, I know that you won't necessarily, or at the time, there wasn't, how to become a presenter and you'll find it like that. It has to be link to link. So it takes your tenacity, your intentionality. And I believe that nothing is missing. Oh, if you are searching enough, or if you are inquisitive enough, nothing is really missing or out of place. You would find whatever it is you are looking for. I was always searching for resources. I didn't really have mentors or like access. I think the first access I have ever got in my life has to be Gloria, which is why I really respect her. She's the one person that I know that took notice of me, because I'm really not as good. I'm only as good as when I'm searching for resources. But when it comes to being in people's faces and making sure that they know me, or like I'm being consistent in sending DMs and comments, no, that has never been my area of strength. Even till now, when I have comments on my page, I struggle to respond. Sometimes I will leave Instagram and go back much later, right? But when it comes to searching for what I'm looking for, how much more now that there's ChatGPT? Like, bro, ChatGPT literally makes life easy for all of us. But before then, I would go on YouTube, I would go on Google. I remembered when I wanted to do my YouTube show, there's a particular guy, that cool Gaffy. He was creating a show similar. Yes, that show featured I think Messi Aigbe's daughter. I really can't remember the host right now, but four of them, two girls, two boys. That was where I got my inspiration from. And I reached out to this person to be asking questions. Oh, please, can you guide me? And he was like, I go to the studio. Like the way it sounded, I was like, this guy probably thinks I'm in Lagos where all these resources are available, and I cannot blame him, right? So I hope that answers the question. You just go online.
Thank you very much. So I honestly just love the position and how this conversation is headed, right? I would like us to talk about your faith briefly and how you were able to manage some emotions. But before then, can you tell us your greatest career shift in the media space? How the moment that you were like, this actually happened. I thank God that I made the right decision. This is the reason why I am here.
I think it's more than my audience's reactions when I host events. I think it has to be my impact on platforms. For example, when I was hosting my podcast, when people listen and they tell me, oh my God, this just spoke to me, this gave me direction. I started a YouTube show much later, Confessions of a Church Girl, and testimonies like that will make me feel like, Joy, this is what you're meant to do. Another major highlight would be 30 days of event hosting tips, which was how you met me, by the way, I think. Yeah, so I think the feedbacks from it, I mean, a lot of people, even you, I remember your words very well because it was very profound. You said, thank you for yielding. And I'll be like, did I really yield to anything? I mean, I thought I was just doing my thing. So when I receive instructions, that joy. So for me, the fulfillment, the purpose is not in being a media personality, it is in how I impact the world around me. It is in how I represent God, and that only comes to play. That does not come to play when I'm hosting events. Yes, I know I'm speaking, God is like speaking through me and all of that. But I think that comes more to play where, people see me and they say, oh, because of you, or this that you said spoke to me, or like because of you are an example. I want you to mentor me. And I'm like, what are you people seeing exactly, right? So I think those are the promptings that remind me that indeed this is what this is. I'm glad I made this decision. I'm happy I yielded to these instructions. Yes.
Thank you very much, and thank you for 30 days of event hosting tips. Like that was it. I remember that times where I missed 2 days, I would go back and be like, no, I must not miss out on this. This is something that I paid money for courses. Everybody is giving it on the platter. Thank you very much for that once again. Okay, so I know that you're a believer, and at the corner we believe in one God. I want you to talk about how your faith help you to balance emotion, because listening to you tell about all of these things, listening to you say all of these things, listening to you said how you were disowned. That's a very heavy word, I must say personally. How were you able? How was your faith able to help you balance emotion during this process?
Okay, so I believe that everyone who is going through stuff right now feel like this is the worst phase of my life. But there is, I like to think that we don't take hold, or we don't capture the moment where we transition from the hurt into the pain. It's into the joy, into like the ease. It's much later we'll be like, oh wow, so I was actually in that state. Or maybe that's just for me. Because honestly, I can't say that this is where I got the, life is always moving. You're not really pausing to observe, wow, so I've left that season, I've left that phase. But I know that when I was leaving school, there was an intense heaviness on my spirit. There was this fear that I had when I was leaving school in my final year, I think during final year exams. And I remember that one word. I wasn't exactly, I mean, I was in fellowship, I was an ESCO, I was all of that, but I wasn't, I would say that I wasn't very firm on, taking hold of the word of God and taking it and saying that. But I knew I was loved by God, right? But one word that stood out for me was, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, to give you an expected end. And I'm saying I wasn't so much of a believer, because right now, the way I hold on to the word of God, the way I'm checkmating myself with the word of God, I wasn't in that phase at the time. But I know that anytime I'm crying, because I'm a crybaby, or I used to be, I'm still a crybaby, but I don't cry as much. Anytime I'm praying, I'll just be like, God, I don't know so much, but I know that you said the plans you have for me is to prosper me, to bring me to an expected end. And there was just this conviction that it might look rough, but you'll be fine eventually. I don't know how I did it though. I don't know how I transitioned though. I don't think there was any point where I said, God, you know what, I'm done with you. No, there was like, how will I be done with God when my life is already a mess? I now want to say that the one thing, because the one thing that I was holding on to at every point is, God is for me. I remember that I would say that, oh, your father and mother may forsake you. Oh, that was one of my favorites. God is the father to the fatherless, the husband to the widow. Those were my scriptures. I didn't really know so much, but those were the scriptures I was holding on to. And I just knew that God was for me. I knew that no matter what, like, I don't think anybody can convince me right now that God is not real. Because even when I didn't know so much of Him, I just believed that God was involved. God is in the story.
Mhm. And it never failed, right? It's so evident that God did not fail you. All right, so as we wrap up, I want us to talk about imposter syndrome for a bit. How did you manage, or I say manage because I honestly feel like imposter syndrome, self doubt is like a general market placard for every young creative in this generation, because everybody is constantly doing. You said something earlier, you said that everybody, the world is moving on and we are all doing something. There's no time where we pause. So we often forget how great or how good we become because of we are just moving on. So can you share with us how have you been able to manage, or if you have even overcome imposter syndrome?
So I think that if I ever get to a point where I overcome it, I mean, there's nothing I cannot overcome. I'm a child of God. But I was just going to say that I will throw a party, because God. And I think that one of the things I've also come to terms with is how um some things are going to be constant. It's like saying that, oh, because you are now a believer, the devil will stop tempting you. It's not possible. So I believe that those are some of his antics, right? And it's constant. So to be able to deal with it or to attack it, more you first off, you have to surround yourself with a lot of positive energy, people that believe in you. Like, there are people that roses are red, violets are blue. They just believe that you are good, no matter what you do. That's what they've concluded in their heart. So imagine having people like that in your space. So for me, who was not really accepted, or my career was not, my mom used to say that I'm pursuing affair frivolities. My the entire career I wanted to build, for I felt like frivolities. So imagine if she was the only person, or they are the only people that I have in my life. That means that it would be easy for me to actually just give in and move on. But I'm grateful to God for friends. I'm grateful to God for community of people that have seen how good I am, and they always remind me. So first thing is the quality people that would remind you. Another thing is, how they said David encouraged himself in the Lord. There are times when I just go down all my pages, or like I have an event coming. I remembered I hosted an event 2023. Lolo was in attendance. That's Auntie Motunde Adaku of Jennifer's Diary. She was in attendance. That was the first time I met her, and God, she gave me such great commendation. And the next time I was going to host an event and she would be there, imposter syndrome setting. And I was like, maybe that one was just a one-off. What if that time I was just lucky? What if I mess up this time? And it was getting to me so bad. And I had to remind myself, I had to go back to the previous things I had done. And then I had to just tell myself, I'm not going in my name, I'm going in the name of the Lord. So how do I address it? First off, I remind myself that I'm not speaking of myself. I'm backed by God. I am going in the name of the Lord. And I also have amazing people that would remind me. And so I encourage myself. I go back to my previous jobs. Now, these things are easier said than done. I wish it's just simple, right? But you stand up when you fall down.
Up when you fall down. I've actually learned so many points today from this conversation. Roses are red, the sky is blue, you are good. That's a period. Thank you so much. All right, so as we wrap up, there's a game you have to play with us called the corner game, right? It's called the corner game, and you don't have to think about your response. You just give us the answer. But before we get to that game part, I want you to speak to the heart of some that 2011 you that was scared. So scared of starting out in a new career. Speak to the heart of that person right now in like 2-3 seconds and tell them the first steps to take.
So I would say that, Joy, you were always enough, and you didn't have to shrink. You didn't have to second guess as much, and it's actually very important for you to believe in yourself before other people would believe in you. So I think you should start by believing in yourself, have a lot of audacity, and then the rest will be easy. You actually don't need so much. You've always been enough. You're ever going to be enough.
Beautiful. And this whole conversation has been so insightful, so smoothing to the heart, so brave. Oh my God. I can't thank you enough. And I really do not want this conversation to end. So, Joyous Joy, are you ready for this game?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, you don't have to think. You know, I've said it before. You don't have to think. You just have to say it. Okay? So, speaking of writing.
Speaking.
Okay. If you could switch a career path for a day, what will you do?
I would sing.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, one word to describe your career transitioning journey.
Audacity. Because
Okay.
who sent me? Like, what was I?
I love it. The biggest misconception about being an event host.
Is it not just to talk? Oh yeah, collect the mic now. Come and talk.
Oh my goodness, please. I'm having so much fun. Okay, now the last one, because we believe so much about speaking into existence. Dream event you want to host.
And met Ben.
A meta event. I love it. I love it. Meta event. That is so amazing. Thank you so much, Joyous Joy. Like, you don't know what this is doing to my heart. Like, for the fact that you are the first guest I'm having in the past 2 years, it's exciting for me personally. Thank you for visiting the corner. I enjoyed every bit of it and I learned so much. So, Joyous Joy, can you please tell your fellow corner mates, because as it is like this, you are a corner mate. As far as we're having this conversation, you're a corner mate. So tell us, where can we find you?
Please, I'm in my house, so come and find me in my house. But you can find me on Instagram at Joyous Joy. Joyous underscore joy. I think it's 2 underscores or 3. I'm not sure. But Joyous Joy, you would find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, a boy for joy, Oluwatofumi. I think there is actually a link tree on my Instagram that takes you to the other platforms because sometimes this link can mess up. But joyous underscore joy on Instagram. I think on TikTok it's the Mama J because that used to be my nickname for a while, Mama J. Twitter, I think Mama J. But mostly my office is Instagram. That's where I open shop. Come and patronize me.
Your shop is your number one advertisement platform. I love it. So, nearest favorite, my corner mate. I want us to go and do Joyous Joy the honor and show her the corner love. Show her the corner love. Please do well to follow Joyous Joy on every of our social media platform. The Joyous underscore joy on Instagram, Mama J on TikTok, the Egbo Ifo. Am I speaking that correctly?
Yes, 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 yes.
Boy for joy, Oluwatofumi. Also, I would say to you, my dearest corner mate, make sure to listen and listen and listen again to this conversation. Even if I did not ask a question in your heart, I know that from everything that Joyous Joy shared today is something you would want to gain from. You would gain from. There's no doubt to it because she shared unapologetically, and I love it. So please do well to spread the word, share this conversation with everybody around you, anyone, your friends, your family members, your enemies, because we need the number and we need your enemies to gain the knowledge as well. Okay, so do also follow the Young Minds Corner podcast on all of our social media platform at the Young Minds Corner underscore podcast on Instagram and on X platform at the Young Mind Corner underscore podcast. You can do well to follow your favorite darling Biolami on all of my social media platform at BIOLA underscore MMY on Instagram and also BIOLAMMY underscore on the X platform. So Joyous Joy, give us your last word. I don't want you to go. I don't even want this conversation to end, but I want you to give us your last word briefly before we leave.
I think I'll start by saying thank you and well done for such a great platform. Thank you for sharing your corner with everyone. Thank you for bringing this platform for everyone to learn, unlearn, and it's really beautiful to see. And I really hope you would have even greater platforms from on here in Jesus' name. And I would say that to anyone listening, I would tell you that you are enough, whatever it is. You know that aspire to Maguire, if you can think it, then you can do it. It's very real. It is not just for saying sake. All you need is audacity. If you believe in if you think your ideas are crazy enough for you to believe in, then I tell you, kings and how do they say it now? My mom would say Obati Joye. Yes, kings and chiefs, they would come kneeling, they would come at your feet to learn from your wisdom. So whatever it is that you think you want to do, as far as you can think it, you think you are able to do it, then you will be able to do it eventually. I hope that is audible. I hope that is clear. I hope that works.
Very spot on. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. We are so honored. Thank you very much. We have a mantra at the corner. You know, I can never leave you, my favorite person in the world, without telling you that you have to do your path. You have to do your own path in trying to start that career, in trying to achieve that dream. But you have to leave the rest to God because God is the one who has the biggest part of the deal. It can never ever mismanage your life. I can bet my last kobo. If God mismanage your life, come and collect my money. That is it. And from all of us right here, from me and Joyous Joy to you, it's a bye.
Bye.